Hello, I'm Draconem, and welcome to my show. Talking to people about a bunch of shit I hope is at least marginally related to a legal topic I've introduced. Today we're discussing a distinguished Harvard professor, Henry Skip Gates, who was arrested by Officer Crowley. Let me start by saying I think the distinguished professor acted like a fucking whiny little bitch. However, can disorderly conduct really justify his arrest? With us today to answer that question, and also to shamelessly plug his blog every chance he gets, is Dylan, also known as the Independent Trage.
There's an unwritten law with cops: if you're going to scream at them and follow them outside screaming when they are trying to leave, you might think twice about dropping third-grade style mama comments on their asses. Just saying. That's probably a recipe for getting arrested, I don't know, about 99.9% of the time. Hey, as I've said before, Gates and the cops both likely handled this situation in not quite the best fashion. But you won't hear me picking one side over the other to defend. Not in this particular situation. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/blog/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
I didn't ask if what Gates did was smart, it was not. I asked if what he did was illegal, it was not. Ha ha.
Well, I'm no cop, but disorderly conduct strikes me as a pretty wide purview. I wouldn't want to push it. To answer your question, I'd need a lot more than what I have. I'd need the language of the applicable criminal statute in question, and I'd need to review every single item of evidence in terms of the witness statements and such. In other words, I have no informed opinion on your question, which I have absolutely no problem admitting. Whoops, almost forgot. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/log/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
Well, I'm no Massachusetts lawyer, but I did sleep underneath this desk last night. But yes, I certainly agree that disorderly conduct has a wide purview, but it is not a blank check to violate the rights of citizens. Here's a copy of the police report to review the evidence. In Alligator v. Commonwealth, the Massachusetts Supreme Court stated it is our opinion that disorderly sets forth an offense designating behavior such as that singled out in Section 250.2 of the Model Penal Code. A person is guilty of disorderly conduct if, with purpose to cause public inconvenience, annoyance or alarm, or recklessly creating a risk thereof, he, 1, engages in fighting or threatening, or in violent or tumultuous behavior, or 2, makes unreasonable noise or offensively coarse utterance, gesture or display, or addresses abusive language to any person present, or 3, creates a hazardous or physically offensive condition by any act which serves no legitimate purpose of the actor. Public means affecting or likely to affect persons in a place to which the public or a substantial group has access. The statute aims at activities which intentionally tend to disturb the public tranquility and penalizes one who with purpose to cause public inconvenience, annoyance or alarm, or recklessly creating a risk thereof, creates a hazardous or physically offensive condition by any act which serves no legitimate purpose of the actor.
Dude. Leave it to you to call up the applicable statute in 2 seconds. I stopped listening there. There's only so much legal stuff I can take after hours. What year is that monstrosity from? 1833. That baby needs to be repealed and replaced, no doubt. But there is wide open language in there that could allow just about anything to be punished as disorderly conduct. Disturbers of the peace catches my eye. But Draconem, you will get no disagreement from me that old fossil statutes like that one need to be replaced in a big way. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/log/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
The fact that you stopped listening there was unfortunate considering I mentioned some particularly relevant case law, which limits the statute in ways you don't seem to be considering. Was Gates recklessly creating a risk of public inconvenience, annoyance or alarm while arguing with someone on his private property? Is it appropriate to apply a statute aimed at intentional public disturbances in this case? Can we even call this a public disturbance when the man has yelled for just a couple seconds outside his home? I think fucking not. Ha ha.
I'm just giving you an independent assessment, dude. That case law definition does not add much to your case. It contains plenty of extremely broad language that could be construed in just about any fashion. But I'm as calm as a paper roll in an Alabama shithouse tonight. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/log/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
The disturbance must be public. The police report makes it clear that Gates was outside yelling no longer than the time it took the officer to walk down the steps before the officer turned around, threatened arrest, then took out the cuffs and arrested him. There's a good reason the charges were dropped. This was a bullshit case and no law was broken unless pissing off a police officer is illegal. The case law makes it clear that is not the intent of the statute. If it were, would that bitch not be at least a bit fucking unconstitutional? Freedom of speech, anyone.
Why are you so mad about this whole thing, man? The facts of this whole thing have never been of much interest to me. I think there were two sides that could have behaved better and could have avoided this whole thing. But who the fuck cares? This is a Massachusetts local matter. Yes, Obama was mistaken to comment on it, but he's recovered well, and as far as I'm concerned, let's move on. Why can't we? independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/blog/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
Chill, brother. What number Keystone Ice you on, you crazy Krautnik? I'm drinking Boulevard wheat.
Chill yourself. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/log/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
How can I chill more than I am? However, it is a worthy endeavor, thus I shall try. I'll start with a shot and follow with a smoke and another Boulevard wheat. What do you think my chances of improving my mood are? I'm already feeling pretty good here, man.
I'm not going to touch that shit. But it's cool that you're getting into a good place. Shouldn't we all be this late at night? That's what I'm always trying to tell others, but I always get a bunch of pushback and get hit with the religious right diatribe plus the mama like normal people don't act like you do rant. It sucks sometimes being cool. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/log/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
Religious morality is man-made. Once you realize that, it's pretty easy to see how some aspects of it are quite useful, while others are totally fucking useless and counterproductive.
I had to think about that a few times to understand it. Haha. But I think I do. Humans tend to embrace the parts of their religion that agree with them, but not the others. Religion's a tough nut to crack. Most of us have some of it, but we struggle to get in touch with what we actually believe. I live every day that way. By the way, Draconem, I love how we disagree on a lot of issues, and you have a website upon which you allow me to blog, and typically at the end of the day, we are still friends. I think that's cool. I think the Dems and Repubs could take a few lessons from that. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/log/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
I disagree with everyone, but never on everything. Unless that person is a total fucking retard. Ha ha. We've already agreed on several things and possibly disagreed on even more, but friends that are afraid to disagree are stupid, worthless fucking pussies anyway. Critical debate is the foundation of all good and worthwhile friendships. Ha ha.
We've expressed some great sentiments tonight. I say make it into a YouTube. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/log/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.
Dylan, we're on YouTube now.
Oh, thank you, dude. That gives me another chance to mention my blog. I'd love to get your comments on my blog to you. independentrage.blogspot.com/masterblogreport.com/pg/blog/theindependentrage and twitter.com/independentrage.